9,000 years before the age of Athens, there existed a civilization superior to all. A land where people lived in perfect harmony, where power and wisdom reached the pinnacle of civilization. A source of strength and technology that, even today, we cannot comprehend. Until the gods grew angry. In just one day and one night, everything vanished. But has it all been lost forever? Or do clues still remain, waiting to be discovered? This is the story of Atlantis, the legendary civilization that disappeared, and the journey to uncover the truth behind the legend. Atlantis. Myth or reality? The story of Atlantis begins in Athens, ancient Greece, some 2,400 years ago. At the academy of the philosopher Plato, one of the greatest minds of all time crafted a tale that would haunt humanity for 2 millennia. In his 2 famous dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, Plato first described a mighty kingdom located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the ancient name for the Strait of Gibraltar. It was an island larger than Libya and Asia combined. From there, travelers could reach other islands, and from those islands to the entire continent opposite, which surrounded that true sea. Plato depicted Atlantis as an architectural paradise, a city with concentric rings of land and water, interconnected canals, and a central island housing the palace of the Atlantean kings. The city was encircled by 3 walls made of bronze, tin, and orichalcum, a metal more precious than gold, now lost to history. According to Plato, Atlantis was not merely a city but a powerful empire with an army of 10,000 chariots and 1,200 warships. They conquered much of Europe and Africa until the heroic ancient Athenians stood against them. But the strangest part of the story is its abrupt end. Plato wrote that, in one fateful day and night, catastrophic disasters struck, and the entirety of Atlantis sank beneath the sea and vanished. But was Plato truly recounting a real story? Or was this a philosophical allegory, a metaphor to teach about morality, politics, and hubris? What perplexes scholars is the specificity of Plato's descriptions. He claimed Atlantis existed 9,000 years before his time, approximately 11,500 years ago. He also insisted the story was not his invention, but was passed down from ancient Egyptian priests to Solon, a Greek lawmaker. The Egyptian priests were renowned for preserving knowledge over millennia. They claimed that while other civilizations were destroyed by catastrophes, their knowledge endured, including the story of Atlantis. Plato's tale ends abruptly. The final part of Critias was never completed. Why? No one knows for certain. Was it an artistic choice, or did he abandon it for personal reasons? Or perhaps, as some suggest, he was forbidden from revealing more about Atlantis. If Atlantis was real, where was it? For over a century, archaeologists, geologists, and enthusiastic explorers have scoured the globe for remnants of the lost city. From the Mediterranean to the North Sea, from the Caribbean to even Antarctica, each decade brings new discoveries claimed to be Atlantis. But is there any real evidence? One of the leading candidates is the island of Santorini, also known as Thera, in the Aegean Sea. Around 3,600 years ago, one of the most powerful volcanic eruptions in history occurred here. The Minoan eruption obliterated much of the island, leaving behind a circular bay, or caldera, and possibly triggering tsunamis up to 30 meters high that devastated surrounding coasts. At Akrotiri, the Pompeii of Greece, archaeologists uncovered an advanced Minoan city buried under volcanic ash, with complex plumbing systems, multi-story buildings, and vivid frescoes depicting a sophisticated society. Many details align with Plato's description, an advanced city destroyed suddenly by catastrophe, leaving concentric rings of land and water. Moreover, the disaster occurred within a time frame that could have been preserved in cultural memory. However, there are significant issues with this hypothesis. Santorini is far too small compared to the legendary Atlantis, which Plato described as larger than Libya and Asia combined. The timeline also doesn't match. The eruption occurred around 1600 BCE, not 9,000 years before Plato's time. In the Caribbean, off the island of Bimini in the Bahamas, divers discovered a mysterious underwater structure known as the Bimini Road, a series of large stone blocks arranged in a long, straight formation, resembling an ancient road or harbor. Many believe this is a remnant of an Atlantean port or road. However, geologists argue it is a natural phenomenon, limestone beach rock that fractured into straight lines. One of the boldest hypotheses places Atlantis in Antarctica. Supporters believe Antarctica was once a temperate continent where Atlantis thrived before being shifted to its current position due to Earth's crustal displacement. They cite the 1513 Piri Reis map, purportedly depicting Antarctica's ice-free coast. However, most scientists dismiss this hypothesis, noting that rapid crustal displacement has been debunked by modern science. The biggest question is, why, with modern technologies like sonar, underwater robots, and satellites, have we found no definitive evidence of a massive sunken city? Has Atlantis been erased by time and tides? Are we looking in the wrong places? Or perhaps, it never existed as a specific city? Or maybe, Atlantis is everywhere we look. When traditional archaeology fails to provide satisfying answers, many researchers have pursued bolder paths. If Atlantis was real, how could a civilization be so advanced as Plato described 11,500 years ago? During the supposed era of Atlantis, most of humanity was still in the late Stone Age. So how could a city with palaces of gold, silver, and orichalcum exist? Some researchers, like Graham Hancock, Christopher Dunn, and Robert Bauval, propose that Atlantis may have possessed technology far beyond their era, perhaps even surpassing modern civilization. They argue that Atlantean architects may have harnessed advanced energy sources we still don't understand, possibly based on sound waves, crystal resonance, or even gravitational energy. At Baalbek, Lebanon, massive stones weighing nearly 1,000 tons were placed at a height of 10 meters, a feat of engineering that even modern technology would struggle to achieve. At Pumapunku, Bolivia, granite and diorite stones, the hardest known, were cut with precision akin to modern CNC machines, featuring grooves, drilled holes, and perfectly flat surfaces. Over 1,500 years ago, with tools unknown to us. Strange artifacts appear worldwide, from the golden airplanes of the Inca to the sakura bird in Egypt, interpreted by some as models of ancient flying devices. An even bolder hypothesis suggests Atlantis was not a single city, but the hub of a global knowledge network connecting other civilizations, such as Egypt, the Maya, and megalithic cultures. Researcher Robert Bauval has pointed out that the Giza pyramids are arranged like a terrestrial map of the Orion constellation. Strangely, other sites worldwide, like Teotihuacan in Mexico and Angkor Wat in Cambodia, also feature structures aligned with constellations, a pattern unlikely to be coincidental. But there's an even more controversial hypothesis. Could Atlantis have been aided by extraterrestrials? Ancient legends worldwide speak of gods from the sky, with flying vehicles, powerful weapons, and knowledge of the stars. Researchers like Erich von Däniken and Zechariah Sitchin suggest these accounts may reflect memories of extraterrestrial contact. According to these hypotheses, Atlantis could have been a colony of an extraterrestrial civilization, or a human society taught advanced knowledge. When catastrophe struck, the Atlanteans may have dispersed worldwide, carrying their knowledge with them. Of course, mainstream science entirely dismisses these theories. There is no physical evidence of extraterrestrials on Earth, and most mysterious artifacts can be explained by ancient technology and knowledge. But what's intriguing is this. Stories of a lost advanced civilization exist in the legends of many unrelated cultures worldwide. Could this be a shared human memory of a lost golden age? Or merely a universal human longing for an ideal society? Modern science is providing tools Plato could never have imagined, from satellites that can scrutinize every corner of the planet to sonar technology that can scan the deep ocean floor. And with these new tools, new clues about Atlantis are emerging. One of the most intriguing sites is the Richat structure in the Mauritanian desert, also known as the Eye of the Sahara. With its massive concentric rings, this structure strikingly matches Plato's description of Atlantis' layout. With a diameter of about 40 kilometers and a location near the west coast of Africa, it fits Plato's description of its position and size. Moreover, geological studies suggest this area was once a sea 12,000 years ago, matching the timeline Plato mentioned. YouTube researcher Jimmy Corsetti and geologist Dr. Robert Schoch have proposed a new hypothesis. Atlantis didn't sink into the sea, it was desertified. As the Ice Age ended and sea levels rose, an unexpected phenomenon occurred. The Sahara Desert began to form, transforming a lush green region into the arid desert we see today. Modern climate studies confirm that the Sahara was once a fertile region with lakes, rivers, and grasslands between 5,000 and 11,000 years ago. Could Plato's sinking into the sea be a metaphor for vanishing beneath the desert sands? In Japan, the underwater Yonaguni structure resembles a massive architectural complex with terraces, temples, and walls. Archaeologist Masaki Kimura believes it is a remnant of a civilization from the Ice Age, when sea levels were about 120 meters lower than today. However, many geologists argue that the Yonaguni structure is a natural geological formation. Sandstone blocks eroded over time into random shapes that appear man-made. In 2001, a shocking discovery emerged off the coast of Cuba. Sonar equipment detected what appeared to be organized geometric structures, including pyramids, streets, and buildings, at a depth of over 700 meters. Paulina Zalitsky, the marine engineer leading the ADC project, claimed this could be the remains of an ancient city. However, the expedition couldn't retrieve samples to prove it was man-made, and the scientific community remains skeptical. Another notable area is the Azores-Gibraltar Ridge and the Azores Islands in the Atlantic Ocean. Some researchers believe these are remnants of Atlantis, a continent mostly submerged. Modern geology proves that continents cannot sink into the sea, as legends describe. However, tectonic plate movements and volcanic activity can dramatically alter landscapes over long periods. Over the past 2 decades, oceanographers have mapped over 20% of the ocean floor in detail using multi-beam sonar, but 80% remains unexplored in detail, leaving ample room for mystery and discovery. Modern science also offers a new perspective: genetics. DNA studies reveal large, unexplained migrations of ancient peoples, including the possibility of crossing oceans far earlier than previously thought. Some researchers, like Dennis Stanford of the Smithsonian Institution, suggest humans may have crossed the Atlantic as early as 20,000 years ago, close to the supposed era of Atlantis. Perhaps the answer doesn't lie in a specific sunken city, but in a new understanding of Earth's and humanity's history. As we continue to explore our planet, and as the climate continues to change, we may uncover the final clues about Atlantis, or what Atlantis truly represents. Whether Atlantis was real or not, there's an aspect of this story that transcends scientific debate and myth. It's the lesson, the profound message it holds for modern humanity. In Plato's version, Atlantis wasn't merely destroyed by natural disasters. It was a punishment, a divine retribution for a civilization that had lost its moral compass. succumbing to greed, war, and hubris. Many scholars believe Atlantis is an allegory, a cautionary tale about the dangers of human arrogance. Atlantis is no longer just a lost city, but a mirror reflecting ourselves. Today, as we face climate change and rising sea levels, the story of Atlantis takes on a new hue. Modern cities like Miami, Venice, New York, or Tokyo are increasingly threatened by the sea, a threat not from angry gods, but from our own actions. Scientists predict sea levels could rise up to 2 meters by 2100, endangering hundreds of millions of people worldwide. In an ironic twist, many areas considered candidates for Atlantis, like the Sundaland Plain in Southeast Asia, are now among the most vulnerable to climate change. We have exploited natural resources, altered the climate, and caused mass extinctions. Is this a historical cycle, where a supposedly advanced civilization like Atlantis went before us? Around the world, archaeologists have found evidence of civilizations collapsing suddenly due to disasters, from the Maya in Central America to Angkor in Cambodia and the Vikings in Greenland. These civilizations didn't sink into the sea overnight, but they vanished when they couldn't adapt to environmental changes. The Atlantis story also reminds us of humanity's relationship with the ocean, the lifeblood of our planet. Plato described the Atlanteans as worshippers of Poseidon, the god of the sea. Today, we've turned the ocean into a vast landfill with over 8 million tons of plastic dumped into it each year. Another aspect of the Atlantis story is overconsumption. Plato described Atlantis as an immensely wealthy society where gold, silver, and rare materials were used extensively. Today, we're exploiting Earth at an unsustainable rate, consuming resources faster than the planet can replenish. Yet, unlike the Atlantis of legend, we still have a chance to change our course. Around the world, people are developing technologies, policies, and lifestyles that are more sustainable, from renewable energy to green cities and circular economies. Atlantis can be seen as a reminder that, no matter how advanced, every civilization must live in harmony with nature. At this critical juncture, we can draw the most vital lesson from this ancient story. Civilization and nature must coexist, not dominate one another. The disappearance of Atlantis, whether by natural disaster or human fault, is a warning signal. If a great civilization like that could vanish without a trace, so could we. But unlike the Atlanteans, we still have time to rewrite our story. Perhaps this is why the story of Atlantis continues to captivate us after more than 2 millennia. Not just because of the mystery, but because of the mirror it holds up to us and the warning it offers about a future we can avoid. Ultimately, we return to where it all began, the vast ocean, home to countless secrets and perhaps even the answers to Atlantis. More than 2,400 years after Plato first told this story, Atlantis remains one of humanity's greatest mysteries. For every answer we find, dozens of new questions arise. Was it a real lost civilization? An allegory? A vague memory of an ancient catastrophe? Or a warning for the future? Perhaps Atlantis is all of these and more. The answer may not lie in finding a specific Atlantis, but in understanding the lessons it leaves behind. Every civilization has its beginning and end, but the knowledge, wisdom, and lessons from the past can endure if we listen. The quest for Atlantis has never ended. Each generation brings new explorers, scientists, and dreamers with more advanced technology and fresh perspectives. With 80% of the ocean floor still unexplored in detail, and new technologies like autonomous underwater robots, advanced sonar, and AI-driven data analysis, we may yet uncover secrets still hidden. Atlantis is just one of countless mysteries about humanity's past. From Göbekli Tepe, the world's oldest temple, built 12,000 years ago, to Nan Madol, the Venice of the Pacific, history still has many untold stories. Do you think Atlantis was real? Or is it just a dream, a yearning for the perfection humanity always seeks? Perhaps the answer lies within you, in your ceaseless curiosity, your drive to explore, and your belief that there are still wonders waiting to be discovered. The journey to uncover our mysterious history has only just begun. Next week, we'll explore Pumapunku, an ancient city with technology beyond imagination. Don't forget to share your thoughts on Atlantis in the comments below.